So, we've just gotten our hands on this incredible trove of newly declassified documents. They're being called the Aneurysmics files. And what they show us is this single, incredibly audacious rebel operation. We're talking about a two-front attack that really showcases some serious tactical genius under just unimaginable pressure.
And these aren't just, old, dusty mission reports. Think of them more as a window into a really pivotal event that happened decades ago. It's like we're piecing together a story from declassified intelligence, fragmented reports, and even song lyrics that, it seems, acted as a kind of coded history. This one line, pulled directly from the records, it just says it all. It sets this incredibly powerful, defiant tone. And it's so much more than a boast. It's basically a mission statement. It perfectly captures the mindset of a rebellion that has been pushed to the absolute brink.
Okay, so what was the actual plan? Well, the documents all seem to center on one specific day, April 11th, 1994. The rebels had found a critical vulnerability, and they were planning this incredibly daring, high-risk infiltration.
And we're not talking about some minor raid here. No, the objective was completely audacious. They wanted to use an enemy supply train as a kind of Trojan horse to bypass all the perimeter defenses and ride it straight into a heavily fortified complex. This was a counteroffensive meant to be a decisive blow, hitting the enemy right where they felt the most secure. What's really telling is the dialogue that was captured in these files. I mean, it shows you the rebels weren't kidding themselves. They absolutely knew that hijacking the train, that was just the beginning of the real danger. The risk was huge, but it was a calculated one they were willing to take. But you know how it goes in any high-stakes operation. Things almost never go exactly according to plan. Just as they were locking in the final details for the heist, a sudden and potentially catastrophic threat popped up. I mean, just picture the scene for a second. You're just hours away from launching the most important mission of your life, and suddenly, you find out an automated kill squad is heading right for you. If they evacuated, they'd have to sacrifice the whole mission, but if they stayed put, they'd be annihilated. They were completely and utterly trapped. So, faced with this impossible choice, did the rebel commanders panic? Nope, not at all. Instead, they adapted. They came up with this absolutely ingenious second plan, something born out of pure necessity and just sheer tactical brilliance.
This was the puzzle they had to solve, and they had to solve it fast. They couldn't possibly take on the killbots in a straight-up fight, and they couldn't run. So, you change the rules of the game. You exploit the enemy's programming, and you make them go exactly where you want them to go.
Their solution was just this masterful piece of electronic warfare. First, they planned to manipulate the local power grid, creating these big energy spikes at very specific substations. Then, they'd use scrambled, high-frequency radio channels to communicate. And finally, the masterstroke, broadcasting a complete and total fabrication.
And here's where the genius of it really kicks in. This is a direct quote from the mission's architect, a guy named Benedictus. They would transmit a fake story about a rebel gathering, but they would embed real coordinates inside that fake broadcast, the coordinates of the exact electrical substations they were overloading.
It was basically a ghost hunt. The killbots, you see, were programmed to investigate energy signatures and radio chatter. So they'd detect the power surges, hear the fake story pointing to that exact same location, and divert to investigate a threat that didn't even exist. It was a high-tech bluff designed to buy them just enough time. So now you have the emergence of a single unified mission, but it's being fought on two totally different fronts. And get this, the success of one was completely dependent on the flawless execution of the other, and the timing had to be absolutely perfect.
The complexity here is just staggering. You have the diversion, a mission all about misdirection and using electronic warfare to avoid a fight. And then you have the heist, a mission of direct action, a physical infiltration deep into enemy territory. Two missions, two very different tactics, but all for one single objective, to strike back.
But understanding the intricate tactics, the how, is really only half the story. The files also give us this incredibly stark insight into why the rebels were willing to take such unbelievable risks. I mean, what could possibly motivate that level of sacrifice? This line, it's just chilling. It's found in the lyrics that go along with the mission files, and it cuts right through all the military jargon. It's not a strategic assessment, it's an accusation. And it reframes the entire conflict from a tactical struggle into a moral crusade. The documents really spell this out. The unwritten accusation, as the source material calls it, is that the enemy was targeting society at its very roots by corrupting each new generation with propaganda and manipulation. This wasn't a war for territory, it was a war for the future. The Aneurysmics files give us this extraordinary look at just one day in a much, much larger struggle. They show us a rebellion that fought not just with weapons, but with intellect, with deception, and with a fierce will to protect its future. And it really makes you wonder, if this is the story of just a single operation, what other secrets are still waiting to be discovered?